So whenever we play chess, it is an individual game, right? Unlike cricket or football, where there are some 10 to 15 people play together. Uh, Here, you're just playing an individual game where you're just more often thinking about your own ideas. Correct? Does everybody agree? So we tend
Yes,
to
sir.
think about what is
Yes,
our
sir.
plan.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
please. You can.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to
Yes,
say it
sir.
in the mic.
Yes,
You can
sir.
just type it. Yeah, yeah. Please use the chat. You can just type yes, yes, yes if you're agreeing with me. And if you disagree, you can always type no. Whenever I ask a question, if you know the answer, you can raise your hand and say. Else, we can have a chat as a discussion. All right, great. So what I was saying is basically it's an individual game, and we always think about what is our plan, what am I going to do, what is my uh, thought process in this particular game, right? But today we are going to be seeing a very interesting positional concept. So what is the positional concept is going to be? It is it is like a magic trick. Any idea? So what is that magic trick is going to be? You can guess it in the chat. Okay, Shravan Sabarish. Very good. So that's a very good guess. I see one person has guessed it right in the chat. I will give you a minute for you guys to think. So it is basically like a magic trick that you can use against your opponents. Sushant has written it. If you don't know the spelling, don't worry. You can just write Archana Karthik. Oh my. Okay, that's very nice. Like I see a lot of right answers. Archana Karthik, Anand, Mokshit, Aditya, Hari, Nandan. Okay. All right. All right. Sudha Rajan, Ranjit Kumar. All you guys have guessed it right. So it is not exactly, but of course, I would give you credit if you have mentioned it as prophylaxis. Very good for those who have written prophylaxis. That's kind of correct. But we are going to see something bit more in depth, like prophylaxis. What would be the definition for prophylaxis? You guys can write in the chat. Let me see how many of you know the actual meaning of it. So, what do we mean by prophylaxis? Okay, Aditya has written preventing opponent's idea. Devansh has written spoiling opponent's idea. Sundar Rajan, to prevent your opponent from executing the original moves and ideas and strategies. Okay. Stopping opponent's plan, waiting move, prevent again. Okay, that's fine. That's good enough, I would say. But what about the magic trick I was saying? It is about, you know, it is trying to not just stop or anything, but first, in case, what we have to understand is, are we able to read our opponent's mind, right? So how would it would be like if you're able to read your opponent's mind? Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, sir.
Right? You can just read what is he going to do, and
Yes.
you can just plan things according to it. Exactly. So that's what you want. We are going to be studying today. So how do I read my opponent's mind? Prophylaxis is basically a concept of it. Well, if you think about it, it is basically a mindset. The positions can be two types. One, it can be dynamic. In dynamic, in a dynamic mind position, what mindset should we have? Any idea?
Sir, attacking.
Okay, you guys would have learned CCT. You can write the abbreviation in the chat.
The dynamic is attacking and gaining a short-term plan and yes, sir.
Sir,
Okay,
dynamic is
right.
Sir, dynamic is short-term advantage.
Short-term advantage. Okay,
We learned two types, sir, dynamic and static, sir.
very good. So what are we going to be doing is like what type of mindset should we approach in these two things? So I'm giving a hint of CCT. So if you know, you can write it in the chat. What does that mean? Okay, I have a lot of right answers, which is check, capture, threats. In a dynamic portion, a lot of things are happening, It is some kind of action movie. If there is an action movie going on, you would like to see candidate moves, which consists of check, capture, threats. Well, that is going to help you find the best move in the position. But if it is a static position, I want you guys to use this mindset that we are going to be discussing. Basically, trying to read what your opponent is trying to do. Why? You can ask me this question. Why, sir, you are saying, okay, in dynamic position alone, you want me to do CCT, but in static position, you want me to read opponent's mind, right? So that's a fair question, I would say. But there is a point behind it. The point is, in a static position, it is kind of a very slow movie. It's not like an action movie. It's basically things are moving at a very slow pace, um, kind of a drama, I would say. And here, you don't see much action, but you can see your opponent trying to do something, right? So your opponent is slowly improving or trying to execute a plan. So this is where reading the opponent's mind becomes much more effective. Of course, you can use it in dynamic position as well, but I would prioritize CCT over this kind of thinking. But in a very static or slight dynamic ones, you can definitely try to see what your opponent is trying to do. And today, we are going to see positions. So in these positions, your aim is to identify two things. The first thing is going to be identify what your opponent is trying to do, right? So that is what we will be focusing on, the first one. And the second one, you will find, or you will just write in the chat exactly what is the way to stop it. In majority of the cases, you have to stop it. But there are some cases, some exceptions where you don't have to stop. You can just enjoy that, okay, your opponent is going after a very bad plan. If your opponent is doing a bad plan, what should we do? Should we stop him? No, right? Like you can just let him, okay, thanks for your plan. You can just execute your plan so that my position gets better. Exactly.